You know, prison reforms are the attempt to improve conditions inside correctional centers. It also involves the improvement of the effectiveness of the system. According to the Minister of the Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, the federal government is planning to relocate 29 correctional centers, including those at Ikoyi in Lagos, Agodi in Ibadan, and many other places. The minister disclosed that the idea became imperative in order to curtail security risks of the centers which posed the risk they pose to society because of their closeness to urban centers. The idea came following an audit carried out on all the 256 correctional centers in the country.
We just like running around problems. Huh? Instead of treating the disease, we are treating the symptoms. You are talking of building more corrections. That means you are talking of putting more Nigerians in jail. Why not talk about what you can do to keep more Nigerians out of jail? Because a lot of crimes committed in this country are actually socioeconomic. A lot of crimes committed in this country are socioeconomic. Whether you call them banditry, you call it insurgency, you call... A lot of these things boil down to Naira and Kobo.
Okay.
So, now, why not deal with the issues? I would expect government to say, we are going to close down, maybe out of these 256 correctional centers, we are going to close down 100. And we are going to make sure that, because in those correctional centers, you have a lot of awaiting trial. Awaiting trial, that's the larger population of inmates.
Emeka, I must mention this. Condemned prisoners across the country number over 3,000.
Yes, but
adding to the problem of congestion.
That is it. That one can even be solved. If the governor said they won't sign that one.
Yes, that's why.
Because the international committee now is talking about, committing to life imprisonment. That one can be dealt with. But the issue of awaiting trial men, there are people in prison now because they couldn't raise 20,000 for bail. It's so ridiculous. Some people are in prison because they were framed up by rogue security officers. Let the government, first of all, institute a probe. Look into why you have such a large population of Nigerians in prison. These are people who should be out in the society helping to keep the economy rolling. You have locked them up somewhere, and you are complaining that the economy is not doing well. You need these human resources out there in the economy to make it succeed.
Let me add to that the question of feeding inmates.
No, that one is even very, very expensive.
14,000 a day.
Yeah, per day. So sometimes you just feel that, okay, let me even commit crime and then, But if that is just, joking, Well, I think it's not really ideal for us to begin to think of building more correctional centers. But I think what Olubunmi Ojo is even saying is for us to relocate some of them.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because I know some of these correctional centers are modernization or urbanization has come to meet them over there. A critical one is even the Ikoyi. He shares the fence with Polo Club. And he's the high and mighty that are always playing polo. So just imagine the day the high and mighty, they are playing polo. And then
they break.
God forbid. You know what will happen? You understand? So I think that is where he's looking at, because something like that happened in Suleja.
Relocating them so they be kept away from city centers.
You understand? We can move them somewhere whereby it will be very far from. But with the way even the entire world is even going, the world is getting smaller and smaller.
Yes.
So no matter what,
urbanization will still meet them.
Meet it there. So the best thing is for us to begin to deal with the real cancer, with the real thing, which is making people, giving them things to do.
Yeah, and making them stay away from crime.
Crime completely. You understand? And I know they are trying, because I know some of the stories that we have done concerning the correctional centers. And once they are done, people who are waiting trials for 10, 20 years it becomes a very big problem. Particularly those ones who have already, inside the correctional centers, they're already doing well. I feel government can go back and look at it and see how they can release those people, let them go back to the society. Because the more you put them there, the more frustrated they are, the more depressed that they are.
Emeka, I'm sure you remember when former governor and President Jonathan appealed to governors to sign death warrants, help decongest prisons.
Yes, it's easy to ask governors to sign death warrants. What about the awaiting trial men? Why didn't he ask the Minister of Interior at that time? Those with such cases, minor cases, that, you can grant them pardon. You can, through some arrangements, you can get them out. You can actually make sure that, people who, investigate all cases, set up a presidential panel with people who fear God, a presidential panel of God-fearing people, not people, wicked people who don't care about, human dignity. People, God-fearing, distinguished Nigerians, look into these cases. Then ask governors to stop putting people in prison indiscriminately. You catch street traders, you put them in prison. A man and his wife fight, you put someone in prison. Two tenants, tenant and landlord fight. No, there are certain things that it's not every offense that should be custodial. You can make provisions for certain other things. Like Lagos State government has actually led the way in that. You can, actually make certain things, not everything, because
pay fine and
maybe pay a fine, or they serve some punishment and all of that. Because we have seen that calling those places prisons actually make people more hardened. So you say correctional centers, but in correcting, you don't have to necessarily put people in custody to correct them, because they could now mix with dangerous elements and become a bigger danger to society. Rather, look for ways to get them out, let them be engaged when they're better engaged.
Earlier on, I talked about feeding. Sometimes a man who had been committed to a correctional center and released, you see the fellow is a shadow.
You see, there are inmates that after they are released, they go and commit crime, and when they are arrested, they say, yes, they wanted to go back to prison. That they feel better staying in a correctional center because they'll get free food and all that. And that, they've been ostracized because they've been put in, they've been sent to prison, and then their family members have washed their hands of them. So that's why I'm saying that we must consider the dignity of, the human being, the dignity of man. The kind of stigma that accompanies, somebody sent to prison. I'm not talking of our politicians who go to prison and they're like VIPs.
Of course, and those they build their own special.
Not those big, those high profile.
They turn their own cell to a
VIP. But I'm talking of the ordinary people. The ordinary people, let us begin to let's allow our conscience to guide us in some of the decisions we take. I will just tell the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi, cancel that idea of building new correctional centers. In fact, use that as an opportunity. The ones that are already in urban centers, close them down. Convert them to something else. You can convert them to empowered training centers for skills acquisition or things like that. Those inmates awaiting trial, bring them out. There are NGOs that actually, they visit prisons and all that. If they sit down with these NGOs can actually tell them how to turn these inmates around, turn their lives around.
So the hardened criminals, where are they going to put them?
Of course. No, you don't have, Ikoyi, for instance, is not a maximum.
You have maximum, medium, and...
So that's what I say. He wants to move those ones that are maximum. He has to move them away from the urban centers. Because I feel that if we begin to put the maximum prison where the urban centers are, it poses a huge stress.
Don't forget that the correctional center break of the other day in Niger State.
Suleja.
I don't think they have rearrested.
No, not everybody.
What about the one in Owerri?
So there are so many. There are so many like that. There are some that they can close. You know, the last time I think I went to Kirikiri area, and I just noticed that this Kirikiri is still there. People are selling around.
Selling as if nothing is happening.
As if you won't even know that is even Kirikiri anymore. You know? So I think it's something that he can, you know, listen to us, find how you can rehabilitate someone. Because I know there are fantastic people in the prisons. We have been, there's a particular guy that, you know, have an album, which a story we ran some weeks back, you know. People like that they are already, their conscience have told them that, okay,
crime doesn't pay.
It doesn't pay, and he has repented, and you can see it from everything up and down. Yes. They can just give him, you know, pardon him and let him go. Rather than keeping him there, because he'll be, I keep saying it, by the time depression comes in, that is, it brings that depression, even when you release it, it brings it out into the society, and it goes back to crime.
Emeka, were you suggesting the last time that as many as 256 correctional centers across our country, too many?
There are too many. There are too many. We need more people to be employed. There are so many unemployed people. Then you now pack so many in the place, bring them out. The ones that at least have minor, like street traders, and some of these minor, you know, misdemeanor and things like that. You don't need to put them in prison. You can bring them out. You can give them, you know, alternative punishments, you know. I give an example of Oko prison, you know, medium security prison in Benin.
Okay.
When that place was built, that whole area was far outside Benin. There was no civilization around that place. It was a thick bush. Go there today. Everywhere, houses, estates, everywhere, you know. So, will you now move that one? Maybe inside, will you take it to Sambisa Forest? You'll be surprised. Real estate developers will still pursue the prison to that place.
Sorry.
Because the warders, you build their quarters. Exactly. And then people selling, maybe in restaurants and all that, they will still come and stay there.
Move there too.
They will move there. And then with time, you know, people from neighboring towns, you know, who see, that prison is here, a lot of people are always coming. They'll start moving to that place. The real estate developers will say, this is a lucrative area. Let us build. They'll start building hotels and estates. And the purpose will still be defeated.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why some countries just build prisons at the island, you know, on the island across the sea. So before.
So how many islands do we have?
You know, you are talking about prisons in my country. Too many. Yeah. I remember one particular country in the Nordic countries.
Norway.
One of Finland also.
Yeah, Finland, yeah. They're looking for prisoners.
They're close. Yes, it's possible.
Okay.
It's possible.
Okay, so you know, we can take advantage. It's possible.
We can actually begin to reorientate people. Make people to know that crime doesn't pay. And then the politicians too, who recruit youths into crime, into thuggery, they should also know that those things they are doing, they are sowing seeds for the future that will come back to haunt them.
Yeah, okay. All right, folks.